Yo, Lord Roll aka Mega Buzz. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Hisuian Samurott Vstar. Now, I've been playing this deck pretty much in my free time, kind of just like off camera, whenever I'm just want to play something different besides, you know, Stall, Lugia, or Iron Thorns, or any of the meta decks. And I've really been enjoying just playing different rogue decks lately, and this is one of them at the top of my list. One of two at the top of my list. So let's jump right in to that deck list. Already here at that deck list with Hisuian Samurott Vstar as pretty much the star of the show with its V-Star power ability, Moon Cleave Star. It says, during your turn, you may put 4 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, on a base level, that doesn't seem all that great. However, we have some support with that V-Star power, and starting off with Samurott Vstar's attack, Merciless Blade for double dark energy, 110 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has damage counters on it, this attack does 110 more damage. So now that's 220, but it's already going to have damage counters on it. So at the very worst, we're doing 230 damage, which a lot of key Pokemon in the standard metagame have 220 HP and up, being like Iron Hands EX at 230, Mewtwo EX and Miraidon has 230, you know, 240 on Raging Bull is pretty easy for Samurott to hit as well, and a couple other key Pokemon. But going forward, we're also going to be playing one copy of the Munkidori here with that ability, Adrenaline Brain. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon has a dark energy attached, you may move up to 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So really just kind of honing in on that damage counter abilities and things like that. We also play this Absol here with its first attack saying Swirling Disaster for 1 dark energy. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So just kind of getting some damage spread across the board, really being able to just get things rolling with our Samurott Vstar, Munkidori, things like that. Claw Rend being its second attack for 2 energy, 1 dark, and a colorless, 50 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has damage counters on it, this attack does 70 more damage. So we're hitting for 120, which is really helpful to be able to KO things like Mimikyu or other just smaller 1-prize Pokemon, or being able to just finish a knockout on a big 2-prizer can be very helpful with this Absol. But we're also playing this Radiant Alakazam with its ability Painful Spoons. Once during your turn, you may move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of their Pokemon. So being able to have that counter manipulation and moving a bunch of damage counters around with this Radiant Alakazam really is going to make our Hisuian Samurott Vstar hit like a truck. On top of that, we have a couple other key things that we have here in the deck to just get some damage counters on our opponent's Pokemon, being this Calamitous Snowy Mountain. Whenever a player attaches an energy card from their hand to one of their basic non-water Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. And then, of course, even if we're attaching energies to our Pokemon, we could just Adrenaline Brain and move them off of our Pokemon, which is very helpful. We also have the Bibarel draw engine in here, and we are playing one copy of the Pecharunt EX, mostly for the ability Subjugating Chains. Once during your turn, you may switch one of your benched Dark-type Pokemon, except Pecharunt EX, with your active Pokemon. If you do, that Pokemon is now poisoned. But it also has an attack that can be pretty useful in a pinch. That Irritated Outburst for double dark energy 60 times. This attack does 60 damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So this thing can hit pretty hard depending on how many prize cards our opponent has taken. We're also playing things like Binding Mochi in here because we are poisoning our Samurott Vstars from time to time. So put that on there, 40 more damage, hit a little harder. We're playing Unfair Stamp for the A-Spec of choice. Now, I originally was going to play Prime Catcher and change it out, but I feel like Unfair Stamp just fits the deck a little bit better with the counter manipulation. It's a little easier for us to kind of just go, okay, you know, play a supporter, we're going to play boss, pull this up, Unfair Stamp you, take 2 prize cards, you're down to 2 cards, we've KO'd your Fezandipiti, what are you going to do? It's really helpful for that. We're also playing 4 Dark Patch in here because most of our attacking Pokemon are Dark-type Pokemon, so being able to just attach that Dark Energy from our discard pile to one of our Pokemon is very helpful. This deck's kind of a tempo-y control aggro deck, playing that Pokemon League Headquarters, Team Devo, Heavy Hand Disruption with the Ionos and the Unfair Stamp, and all the counter manipulation. But the deck can also go super fast and take knockouts really quickly with that Samurott Vstar. So now, let's jump right into that gameplay. Alrighty, here at the Hisuian Samurott gameplay at the coin flip. Tails is what it's going to be, and I'm going to elect to go first. The reason I want to go first is I want to be able to evolve, you know, my Bidoofs into Bibarels. I want to be able to evolve my Samurott V into V-Star so I can get that Moon Cleave Star V-Star power off pretty much as quickly as possible. I can start getting some damage counters spread around and things like that. Unfortunately, we had a mulligan coming here, but we're going to start with that Absol in the active spot. Going to be able to spread some damage counters here at the start of the game. And we are going to be playing against Snorlax Stall. I've been playing quite a bit of Stall lately on kind of the competitive side of things. So I really kind of understand the inner workings of Stall and what needs to be done. So here, we're just gonna attach and pass turn here. The nice thing about this is we don't have to worry about getting donked at all. You know, if we were playing against a different deck, maybe like Raging Bolt, we might have to worry about that, which usually this doesn't happen too often. But this matchup is going to be a little bit tough. We need to make sure that our Pecharunt EX isn't prized, because if it is, that's not great here. Eerie going to come from our opponent, discarding that Dark Patch and that Unfair Stamp. Night Stretcher might have been a better choice to grab instead of the Unfair Stamp, but maybe they have a way to take prize cards like a Blood Moon Ursaluna or something in their deck, so they don't want Unfair Stamp coming from that. We're going to go Arven here, Nestball, TM, Devo. We're not going to really need Devo in the matchup, just kind of grabbing it so we can discard it with our Earthen Vessel here. Going to get 2 Dark Energies out of the deck. Being able to attach 1 to our Hisuian Samurott V. Then we're going to swirl in Disaster for 10 damage and onto our opponent here. Our opponent don't have no Rotom V, so he ain't going to be drawing any cards with that instant charge ability or anything like that. But that Eerie was pretty devastating, being able to discard some cards out of our hand, being able to see what they got going on. And since they know what we had in our hand and we got that Samurott V, and Iono came from our opponent there, so they can get a little bit of disruption going. Gonna be able to bench another Snorlax here. Now, something I should have done is check for that Pecharunt EX to see if it was prized or not. If not, there is still many ways we can win this matchup. It just becomes a little bit difficult. We see that Mimikyu come down for our opponent, which could prove to be very difficult to deal with. We're gonna play that Pokemon League Headquarters down just to get it out of the hand here. We're going to be able to play that Arven, and we're going to grab ourselves potentially an Ultra Ball. We're going to do that Ultra Ball here maybe, so we can get that Samurott V-Star rolling. We're going to grab Binding Mochi, and we're looking to see if maybe we grab Switch here or anything. We're going to grab Nest Ball instead. The reason I grab Nest Ball is because I can grab my Pecharunt EX here. So be able to grab that Pecharunt EX, and then we're going to be able to Swirling Disaster again. Unfortunately, that Pokemon League Headquarters does make it so our Absol can't attack with that Claw Rend, but I wanted to leave 1 energy on the Absol, so when I go to, you know, retreat or anything, if I can get up that Mimikyu and retreat out of the Absol, I still have an energy on it, so I can keep using that Swirling Disaster or anything like that. Our opponent here going to use that Accompanying Flute, getting that Fezandipiti EX, which is not great. What you really want to be doing as a stall player in any matchup that might play Pecharunt is you want to fill the board before they can bench that Pecharunt EX, but we were able to establish our Pecharunt very quickly, which is going to prove to be very helpful in this matchup, but still going to be a challenge nonetheless here. And I don't want to discard a lot of these cards here. I don't want to discard that Binding Mochi. I don't want to discard my Iono or anything like that. So we're just going to play the Iono here. And then we're going to Ultra Ball away a Samurott V and a Dark Energy. We're going to Dark Patch that Dark Energy to the Samurott V-Star after getting that Samurott V-Star off of our prize cards, putting up our Hisuian Samurott Vstar here. We're going to be able to Moon Cleave Star this turn if we want. But first, I want a Merciless Blade, taking a prize, putting us at a 5-6 split here. Getting an Ultra Ball off our prize cards. We're going to have that Professor's Research and Arven in hand as well, which is going to be pretty helpful. We're going to be able to possibly, you know, bench a Munkidori and move some damage counters around or anything like that. We might even be able to, like, retreat out of our Samurott V-Star if they leave this Mimikyu in the active spot and take that knockout with that Absol potentially. but our opponent here going to play that Misfortune Sisters, milling some items off the top 5 cards, of our deck. Accompanying Flute coming down, going to be able to put that Bidoof onto our bench, which is not really what we want. Bidoof is not a great card in this matchup. Our hand can get pretty big sometimes, especially in the stall matchup. So having that Bidoof on the bench can cause to be some problems. And the reason we're playing the 70 HP Bidoof is because Dragapult exists, and a couple other things as well. Collapse Stadium coming down, so we can't bench any more Pokemon, unfortunately. And they're just going to pass back to us here. That poison damage ticking on our Samurott Vstar here. We're going to be able to, subjugating chains, putting up the Absol if we want. But I'm just going to grab that switch potentially with my Arven here. So we're looking to see what we're going to grab. We're going to grab the switch. We're going to leave that Binding Mochi in there because I don't really need it right now. And I'm thinking I'm going to Professor's Research next turn. So Clawrend here coming. And the reason I don't attach an energy for turn is I might want to be able to Ultra Ball it away so that I can Dark Patch later. Now, I also just got Dark Patch off my prize cards, which can be very helpful here. And we see that Chorus Experiment come down, which kind of tells me instantly we're not going to see a Rotom in this matchup at all. They're playing Sander Wojek's list from a most recent regional where it plays no Rotom, plays things like Chow and Worker and a couple other cards more than likely. But that Chorus, usually they don't play that if you're playing Rotom. But we're going to see that Mimikyu come down here, unfortunately, which is going to prove to be a little bit tough for us. But Subjugating Chains coming up, putting our Samurott Vstar back into the active spot here. And we're going to be able to possibly use that Moon Cleave Star here. And we're going to put all those damage counters right onto our opponent's Mimikyu here. Then we're going to take a knockout on that Snorlax, putting us at a 3-6 split. Now, we haven't really used Pecharunt EX all that much. We've only used it one time since I've twice since I've put it into play, which has been quite helpful, but we would have been able to attack with the things they were putting in the active part regardless. We can attack with that Fezandipiti and that Cruel Arrow. We can attack with our Bidoof if need be, but we're going to be able to retreat out of our Samurott. Clawrend for the win here, making just, they don't have any more bench Pokemon, so we're going to win by that. But even if not, we had 4 prize cards taken, and we had the Pecharunt set up. We had everything rolling. The chances that they were able to come back from that game is unlikely. And Samurott Vstar is a deck that just, even without against stall with that Pecharunt, you still have a really good chance into that matchup, being able to attack with your single prize Absol, being able to manipulate damage counters with Munkidori and Radiant Alakazam. You can take knockouts on that pesky Mimikyu. That can get in your way sometimes. Samurott Vstar is proven to me that it is a great rogue deck going forward, and I cannot wait to play more of it. Now, let's jump right in to that outro. Alright, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys enjoy the content I've been making for the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And I should have put the deck list that I played in today's video in the description below, so you guys want to try it out for yourself. You'll be able to. But before I send you off, I have some important news I want to tell you guys. I'm going to be starting streaming on Twitch here soon. I've been kind of setting everything up again to get ready, setting up, Nightbot and things like that, getting everything kind of ready. And I've also been really taking the time to get the Mega Blitz YouTube, official Discord server kind of up and running. So both of those links are going to be in the About section of YouTube, and they're always in the description below as well. So I definitely recommend checking those out, and I'll see you guys on the live stream. See you in the next one. Peace!